Hello, we're in Malta. We're doing English candlesticks in Malta. Now, these are brass English candlesticks by John Hardman and Associates. And they were made in or around the Midlands, Birmingham, in about 1870. And they are absolutely identifiable. There's no name on them, but they are so identifiable because they are of a certain taste. So before we continue with that, I just want to talk about the candlestick thing in Malta. Now, Malta is a Catholic Mediterranean island, and most of the candlesticks here are sort of Baroque, 18th to 19th century carved wooden sticks, candlesticks, altar sticks. They don't have the sort of chamber stick, brass candlestick thing like you have in England, but they do have candlesticks, and we have a lot of them, and we'll do those another time. So we have an example of what I am describing as washed up, marooned British items in Malta, and they came with the services. They came with the expat residents who were coming for a couple of hundred years, and are still coming now. Now, when you talk about Hardman, you talk about Pugin. Now, Pugin was a designer who would take contracts to design schemes. Now, when you're talking about a scheme, you're not saying, oh, he built it, or oh, he did the carpets, or oh, he did the furniture. Pugin did the scheme and coordinated the textiles, the tiles, the electrics, the gas, the plumbing, the roof tiles, the stained glass windows, the furniture, the doors, the door furniture, the hinges, and that sort of depth. So they were. I mean, Victorian Britain was industrialised, and Pugin was involved, for example, in the Houses of Parliament, which are Gothic or neo-Gothic. So you now can start to see where I'm heading with this. Now in Malta there are actually two English churches. There's one in Valletta, which has a spire. It's an Anglican church, and then you have one in Slima, and the one in Slima is neo-Gothic, and that's very much the sort of place that these would have gone into. If you were making the church, the one in Malta was made here. It's an English style church built in Malta, like many you will see in England. And they would have bought an altar from the catalogue, they would have bought candlesticks, they would have bought the vestments, they would have bought the lectern, they would have bought all the bits and pieces to go in the church, or they would have had it made in Malta and from a catalogue, of which people think catalogues are new, and IKEA was the first person with a catalogue, but I mean catalogues go back forever. Chippendale sold from a catalogue. I mean, you bought the furniture literally from a catalogue, and he'd have it made in London, and more often he would have it made by contractors in the suburbs and the provinces. People don't realise. So if you go to Hokham Hall in England, it's full of the invoices from Chippendale, and much of it, as I say, was made locally by subcontractors. So it's an industrial trade. So you have to, when you think of Chippendale, you have to get away from this romantic thing. It's just not the case. So John Hardman made brass things, and he particularly made a lot of things in association with Pugin, or for Pugin, or for the circle of Pugin, or for the followers of Pugin, or for the customers of Pugin. So you have to be careful how you attribute these things. I don't want to mislead anyone. I think these are by John Hardman and his associates, and they are in the manner of Pugin. I mean, I think that's fair. They are prickett candlesticks, and they have these pricketts, and they have detachable pricketts, which is a very unusual feature. But it means you can clean the sconce. This is a sconce. It's a holder for the wax, and it's been made into a decorative feature. You have a sort of Gothic pierced gallery made of brass, and it's really nicely made. This fits beautifully onto the pin. You have this geometric diamond pattern, which isn't just scraped in by a kid on a lathe. You've got bellied diamonds, so you have the lines, and between them you have a shaped piece of metal. Really, really difficult to make. You have these formed or pressed or spinned or spun pieces of brass which form the decoration. And you have a simple form of construction, down to a cup at the bottom, lines 4 feet. You know, these are the sort of feet you'd see in the Regency period. So you have elements from different periods. But you have what's really nice on this one, which really makes it stand out, you have these cast iron bases with a nut. And that's so unusual. It's such a good quality thing. They're heavy, they're not going to fall over, they're really, really well made. And you know, when you have something that's really, really well made, you have to consider whether it's institutional. When I say institutional, I'm meaning for a church or for a public building or something like that. So Pugin has got this institutional dimension, and he did do houses, and his contractors, like Hardman, of course, did ordinary things, and they did churchy things. That one there, oh, it does come off, that's good. So we have them in Malta. Unfortunately, these things are not inexpensive, and you know, that's the nature of them. They come with these really old beeswax candles. I think these candles could be 19th century. You know, these are not normal old second-hand candles. They're not a pair, unfortunately. If they were a pair of candles, I mean, the candles would be worth something on their own. But they're nice Maltese. I think those are Maltese beeswax candles. They come with it. So they're for sale. I hope you found my comments interesting. And as I say, you can look up Pugin, P-U-G-I-N, and these are in the Manor of Pugin. Thank you.